right, Shalom Akim. We would like to start off by giving our honor and glory to
Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Rakakudash.
A double honor to our apostles of great millstone, Ruel. Peace and blessing to the house of David the elect. I'm Zahabin to my right.
Kazak.
And today we're going to go into a lesson basically entitled, restore. We are in the spirit of restoring, man. This is literally and spiritually the restoration of Israel. All right, and it happened once before, all right, during the time of Nehemiah and Ezra, man, all right, where we were going back to the Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, man. All right, but what's happening now? This is a rebuilding of the spiritual temple. All right, can you open up with Amos? Was it 11?
Amos chapter 9.
Yeah, I will rebuild the house of. Yeah, we're in the restoration of Jerusalem, man. All right, the rebuilding of the temple, man. All right. Just how we were coming out of those Babylonian captivities to come back to our homeland, Jerusalem, to rebuild the temple. All right, we're spiritually coming out of our Babylonian captivity to rebuild this temple, man. And the Most High is requiring of us, all right, to let go of certain things that we picked up in our Babylonian captivity, man. All right, if you can receive it in the spirit, okay?
Amos chapter 9, verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David.
In that day, this is that day, man, that third day. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David. Go ahead.
That is fallen.
Yep, that is fallen because we went into captivity, did we? All right. Then they tell you that we will be without a king in this captivity. Mm-hmm. All right. Hey, we discontinued from our heritage. So that's like you taking down that temple, man. All right. Go ahead.
And close up the breaches thereof.
Yep.
And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
I will raise up his ruins, man. All right. And build it as in the days of old, man. All right. So, hey, this is the spiritual temple being rebuilt. All right. Can you get another example? 1 Corinthians 3:16, and then you can get your precept. All right. So we're at a time of restoration, which is a very important time, man. All right, because we're spiritually in the time of Nehemiah, spiritually in the time of Ezra, man. All right, but there were certain things that took place with the exiles. All right, once they got back to Jerusalem because they had picked up poor habits, man. All right, that they had to be cleansed from, man. This is a spiritual restoration, man. All right, that's why the Spirit is requiring you to let go of certain poor habits. All right, it's not necessarily a sin, but it's not conducive to you being restored back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, certain poor tendencies that get your spirit all out of whack. All right, the Spirit might require you to minimize your drinking habits. Some brothers he might require to stop drinking. All right, it's certain things in the Spirit that's going to be required for you to be a part of that temple that's being rebuilt. All right.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you?
All right, we're that temple, man. Going back to, I think that's Ephesians. Each of us make up a building stone, a stone within that building, within that temple. Okay. All right, so we're in a time of restoration, man. We're spiritually coming out of these captivities, coming out of our captivity the way our forefathers did back during the time of Nehemiah. All right. Back during the time of Ezra, okay, all right, but there's a reality of coming from a captivity of 400 years, man. If we got influenced by our captive culture back then, within a short period of time, how much more were we influenced by our captive culture now, man?
I got two for you. Now get you in 1 Corinthians.
All
right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9. 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. For we are laborers together with the Most High. Ye are the Most High's husbandry. Ye are the Most High's building.
You are the Most High's building. When it's talking about you, it's talking about the elect, the 144,000 stones that make up the building or the tabernacle of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, also known as the tabernacle of David. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
Mm-hmm. And going back to that cleansing, man. All right, go ahead.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish.
Mm-hmm. Are you want to expound on that?
I mean, yeah, basically, putting away particular things that do make us sanctified. They do separate us from this world.
Yep.
You know, there has to be a difference.
Yep.
I got this for you. 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols.
Showing you that when the Most High or Yahweh Shai extended the mercy to the Gentiles, it was talking about Israelite captives or Israelite foreigners, man, who had become citizens in those captive lands, such as Colossians, Ephesus, all right? And that's why the Apostle Paul was writing these epistles to you, because he couldn't be in contact with you like Nehemiah or Ezra when they came back to Jerusalem. So he wrote these epistles to you because he wasn't around you 24/7 to restore you back to Yahweh Shai. But that was a restoration back then. That was a spiritual restoration back then, man. And you have to understand, when you come back from a captivity, you have to be born again. You have to be cleansed and restored back to your original self, man. All right? Because that's a physical form of trauma. All right? To be away from your homeland, in our case, 2,000 years. Okay? Not that, let alone an American captivity, which is the end result, but ultimately 2,000 years we've been away from our homeland. So we have to basically be born again, start all over. And that includes, like the Elder Apostle Tahar was saying, like cutting your hair, or, letting go of certain hairstyles, all right? Not going to the club so much. And because you got to detox from the land of your captivity, man. All right? Not getting multiple women, all right? So you may say, where's in the Bible we can't have more than one woman? Or where's in the Bible that, we got to cut our hair, it got to be your length? Hey, man, you got to unplug from your captivity. That's the only way that you're going to spiritually be restored. All right, go ahead.
So you said how it's been a long time since we've been away from our homeland, Jerusalem.
Yep, since we've been in our homeland, Jerusalem.
Okay.
Yep.
Isaiah chapter 49 and in verse 21. Then shalt thou say in thine heart, this is our land speaking, who have begotten me these? Seeing I have lost my children, and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro, and who have brought up these?
Yeah, it's like you're a mother, right? And when you're young, you don't know how to take care of your kids. Then you get your offspring taken away from you by Child Protective Service. But then your child turns 30 years old and finds a way to see you again. That's a whole other individual. You last saw him when he was 7. Now he's in his 30s. It's like, who is this?
Yep.
This is my son? Go ahead.
And who have brought up these?
Yep. Who have brought up these, man? And the reason why it's who have brought up these, because we have a whole different demeanor about us than we did in our homeland. Growing up in a land that's contrary to the laws of the Most High. So even if we men of the Lord, how willing we the elect, we have ways about us that still attached to America, man. On a subconscious level. Probably our mannerisms, our lingo. So we have to be restored again. Ultimately, it goes to our subconscious. See, the reason why you have to detach from the world when you come into this knowledge, because you have Babylon embedded in you on a subconscious level, man. It's going to take for you to be detached to be restored.
It takes a lot of deprogramming.
We're being the Matrix. And when they came into ship Nebuchadnezzar, they weren't wearing American clothing. They had on that sackcloth type clothing. All right, they were detached, man. All right, and that's the only way it could be deprogrammed. Go ahead.
Yeah, Neo basically had to be born again.
Yep.
It showed the one scene when he was in the water.
Yep.
And
you got to receive it in the spirit. I'm willing. You receive it in the spirit, All right.
I'm going to finish it off, and it says, behold, I was left alone, speaking about our land. These, where had they been?
Yep.
In America.
Yeah. Way over there, And we can't get so caught up in, and that's why it says, roughly paraphrasing, how no soldier that war entangled with the affairs of this life, man. Because you can't get so entangled that you forget that you're in captivity, that you're on a mission to get up out of here, man.
Yep.
All right? All right.
Nehemiah chapter 13, in verse 23. In those days also I saw Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language.
You know, and that's why he told them to detach from those wives, man. Not because you couldn't deal with a foreigner, all right, but those wives didn't teach the offspring the language of the Jews, all right, which was a liability to our race, because how you gonna pass down your inheritance if they don't know their heritage, man? All right. So you was looking up something, but hey, but you're gonna find out that when it comes to restoration, that you gotta do things that's not directly in the law to come back to the law. You know, you gotta. That's why the word neophyte. It's funny you said neo. Neo means new. Mm-hmm. Neophyte means new plant or newly planted, man. You're starting all over again. All right.
Jay don't want to let it go.
Jay don't want to let it go, man. And these are signs that you don't want to let it go. All right.
I'm gonna finish it off for you now. I got a precept.
Okay, come on.
All right. Nehemiah 13 and reading verse 24. And the children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them.
I mean, he smacked them. I mean, he struck them. He put his hands on them. That was the zeal that he had on them, man. Because they had allowed these heathen wives to take their kids totally away from the Most High. Like Solomon's wives, man. Solomon's concubines, man.
And this ain't nothing but basically the I put it, man. This is another form of how the sons of God went into the daughters of men.
Mingling the seed.
Yeah, and causing us to fall.
Yep.
And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by Yahweh, saying, you should not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
Yep.
Let me keep reading.
Now, that'll be it. That's pretty much the point, man. That was an example of what they had to let go to be restored, man. We are in a time of restoration. This is the restoration of Jerusalem, man, in the spirit. And we're rebuilding the temple. See, when we're rebuilding the temple, that was a time of restoration, to restore, man. So Yahweh Shema Shah is restoring us back to him, man. All right?
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12. Then we'll jump to chapter 10. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient.
So there are certain things that we picked up in this captivity, all right, that's not a sin. Okay, we came into the knowledge. We know the laws, all right? But there are certain things that we picked up in captivity that's not conducive to you being restored back to Yahweh Shema Shah in real time, man. So yeah, you could go out there and teach and put on a garment, but do you have tendencies and vices about yourself that's really a hindrance to your growth in the spirit, man? All right? Because one of the things that takes the heal is separation. That's why it tells you in Proverbs 18, a man having separated himself, seeking intermeddle it with all things. But first, before you get wisdom, you have to detach from your captivity. You have to detach from the world, man.
Yeah, and a lot of Jake, man, what they do, they bring nigga culture into the truth, man.
Yep, they can't put a fucking microphone down. Nobody give a fuck about rapping, man. I mean, you might listen to it in your own time. Don't bring that shit up in here, man. That nigga energy. Like that Boondocks, that Uncle Ruckus. Don't trust them new niggas over there.
Yep.
Leaving that nigga essence in the air. You bringing in a nigga essence. Here it is, we offering up a savory odor to the Most High through these spiritual sacrifices, and you bringing in that nigga scent, man.
Yeah, that's strange fire.
Yep.
Strange incense, man.
Yep.
All things. No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, just that cheap $1 incense at the gas station. Yeah, man. Most High ain't with that, man. Hip hop culture, you know.
All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
Yep.
And that shows what Jay really believe in too.
Yeah.
You know, they get these things power over them. You know, if it's a particular haircut, or certain women that Jay can't cut off.
You can't cut off Babylonian women. I mean, the Most High give you a wife, for your spirit, for the sake of the mission, but you can't cut off them hoes because you got a certain look that attract them hoes, man.
But it's something too, because in the Apocrypha, in the Gospels, and also in the letters of the Apostle Paul, is all reiterating the same thing. Our Lord Yahweh Shah said it. If you come to him and you man, I'm gonna just get it. I don't want to paraphrase it. They don't do it justice. Go to Luke. Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14 and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Yep.
And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Yep.
But not just basically, him saying, if you can't hate these things, you basically, if you can't be indifferent toward it,
because the previous scripture you brought out was, I will not be brought under the power of any.
Mm-hmm.
So if your wife wants you to go back in the world, your mom, your dad, you hating means to not be under their power, man, to not do their will, man.
Yep. Not bow down to the will of.
Not bow, So we're in the time of restoration. So ultimately, that comes with detachment. Yep. It comes with cutting ties. All right, you can still love them. We're not telling you not to love them, but to do their will, man, you have to cut ties. Even if that means that y'all, separate. You had certain men who they weren't coming to the knowledge, or they'd be on the outside of the temple looking in, but they were scared to add to the temple because their wives gave them ultimatums. They was afraid that if I come to build this temple or help build the temple, my wife is gonna leave me and my wife is gonna take my son, man.
Yeah, right? and these were heathen women.
Yep.
You know, and also see, as far as the children that were put away. See, some of those children, the children that were put away, those were children, that the heathen woman, had by a heathen man.
And I can just say this, and what came to my mind when I said that was the actual Jake that came to count. Now, his woman was of the 12 tribes, but he could never came into the fold 100% because he was worried about, losing his family, his wife. You know who I'm talking about. And, his wife basically was in the spirit of a heathen.
Yeah.
I remember the spirit of heathens, they're like those heathen women. But you got to be ready to separate if need be if they stop you from building that temple, man.
He was ashamed of Yahushua.
He was ashamed of Yahushua. And he was brought under the power of his fucking woman, man.
That's right.
All right, go ahead.
Sirach chapter 33, verse 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest.
Yep, and that's one of our duties as a man. And part of the restoration of Israel or rebuilding the temple is we reclaiming our manhood. And when you reclaim your manhood, you're automatically in the position of the alpha male. So you don't give your power to your subordinates, man. The subordinates, they bow down to the will of you. All right? So when it comes to your household, hey, how about Shema Shah comes first, man?
It's crazy because Jake is basically like the last in their household. They let their woman rule them first, then their children, and then it's them.
Yep, I get the last. Jake used to get the big piece of chicken. Now you come home, you get whatever's left, man. Like, damn, man.
Get the scraps and
Get
shit.
the scrap, man.
All right, I'll read the rest of it. I'm going to get something for you, Peter, bro.
Okay, come on.
All right, and it says, verse 20. We're jumping down to verse 20. As long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thyself over to any. You will not be brought under the power of any. Same thing,
Because we just left a 400-year captivity where we were under the power of Esau, under the power of our woman, under the power of our mothers. All right? Isaiah 3 and 12, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. We just came from that shit. All right? So we have to be rehabilitated, man. They got something in a so-called black conscious community called PTSD, post-traumatic slave syndrome, where you suffer the effects of your captivity. We have to be rehabilitated from that. Esau never rehabilitated us from the wound that he gave us, man.
Well, we've been traumatized.
We've been traumatized, man. And we have horrible tendencies. The reason why Apostle Paul wrote that long book called the Book of Corinthians, the first and second book, because he was talking to Jakes who had been traumatized by their captivity and had been negatively affected by their captivity. Jake who were effeminate, Jake who were homosexuals, Jake who was sleeping with fathers' wives, man. All right? So things have to be cut off, man. All right? That's the reality of being in a captivity, man. All right?
1 Peter chapter 2 and in verse 9. Now it says, But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people.
Yep. So now another thing that happens in the truth is that you get your ruler class mentality back. Your pinnacle in life is not succeeding in Esau's kingdom, man. All right, reaching the highest pinnacle in Esau's kingdom, man. Royal, man, I don't want to be in your kingdom.
Yep.
We want our own kingdom through Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right.
It says that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
Yep. I noticed something too. And when you get those haircuts, it's like you was reborn. Like if a brother had braids or whatever, or he gets the haircut, he has that look like I'm born again. Like I'm starting afresh.
Yeah.
Like you join certain organizations and they make you wear all white. Like, okay, I'm a neophyte. I'm starting all over. I'm starting from the beginning.
That's what they was probably showing the movie Book of Eli, although they had him shaved up.
Yeah.
But they had him with the low, well, he had shaved everything off. But it was like he was starting over. He was wearing white.
Because you join Esau's military, he going to start you over. All right?
Because the Most High has to program us.
Yep. The Most High has to program us. Yep.
Got one for you right here. I'll jump up to verse 5. 1 Peter 2 and 5. You got anything else?
We can close it out on this.
1 Peter 2 and 5. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house.
Yep. And that's the spiritual restoration of the temple. All right? Go ahead.
And holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yahweh by Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
And those spiritual sacrifices are when we go out there the highways and the byways to teach, man. Also our life. That's why it says in Isaiah 19 that there will be an altar in Egypt, man. All right? And they'll speak the language of Canaan, which is Hebrew. All right? Is the it on that?
Yep.
All right, bro. And with those lively stones to build up this spiritual temple, man. Going back to Amos, that I rebuilt the tabernacle of David. I restored the tabernacle of David, which is now, man, the house of David. All right, which is what you see before you. Our willing is us. Hey, but with that, did you have any last statements?
It's basically, the Lord has proven us, man. So when the apostles, they'll put out a certain order, you got to remember, even if it's not per se written exactly like that in the scriptures, the scriptures say, mark the perfect man. The Lord still set these men up, and there's a reason why. And they may say things that might rub you the wrong way personally, but that's really the Most High trying you. Like, how much He care about this shit? Mm-hmm. Like, how much do you care about a damn haircut? How engulfed you are in the world to where you got a problem with doing a video a day? Mm-hmm. Hey, it's all the Most High trying you, man. And the Most High, hey, He can get us just based off our reaction, man. So, remember, it's the Lord's program. And ultimately, what do you really care about? Do you really care about this place you call Babylon, or do you care about Yahweh Hashem Yahushai? Because the Lord, He's requiring us to detox, man. That's about a detox. Like you said, we've been over here, 400 plus years, and then just our upbringing in this captivity.
Most of us were raised by women. You know what I mean? Or in rap music. Women in rap music.
It's like our mothers, although they're Israelite women,
they're heathen women.
Yeah,
they're like those. And we love our mothers, but it's the truth. Hey, it was like those men that married those heathen wives. Those are our mothers.
Yep.
We have Babylonian mothers, and we have Babylonian wives.
And for you brothers that are Israelite foreigners, you may actually have
a straight up heathen mother.
But you accept the fact, well, my mom ain't gonna make it. Yeah. But that's just a part of it. Yeah. That's part of that process, man.
Because our women might be our moms might be straight up Israelites, but they probably won't make it either.
They probably won't make it.
Yep. So hey, with that, we hope your brothers are edified. And once again, we want to give our honor and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash.
Double honors to our apostles, the great millstone rule well. Peace and blessing to the house of David the elect. And with that, hey, shalom.
Shalom.